Hey guys, and welcome back to another great episode of Pardon Our Honesty. I'm Tiffany,
I'm Megan.
and we are talking about.
Let's talk about sex.
Oh Lord,
Play a little song.
do you know
But
how much of a prude I am when it comes to sex?
but listen, this is why I wanted to talk about it. It was so funny. So I was out yesterday with a group of women, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and the conversation came up, and I don't remember how it started. I wish I remembered how it started. But we started talking about women's approach to sex
Okay.
versus men's approach to sex. Now, granted, our little disclaimer, this may not apply to everybody, and you may be the one that's different, blah, blah, blah. We get that. Okay. Let's just put the disclosure out there. But it started off talking about how a woman, most women,
Yeah.
okay, it starts early in the day.
Yes.
Like, hey, you look beautiful
Yes.
today. Good morning. And
Yes.
move about our way, right?
Yes.
During the day, maybe a text here or there,
Yes.
or helping around the house or whatever. And how the man, if you go up and say, hey, good morning, he's like, you want to go?
Let's go. Not now. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
And it was really funny because like everybody started telling stories about how like their husbands or significant others,
Yeah. Yeah.
they'd like walk up and the dude just like touches their boob or grabs their ass and is like, you want to go? And they're like, or they stand next to them in the morning, like wake them up. Now, who likes to be woke up? Like, I'm sorry. I don't. But one story was, that they would wake up and look up and he'd be like standing there naked, ready to go at it. And they were like, what the I would be like, are you please put that away?
Put that in a holster and go away. Call me back in about a few hours, like maybe 8 of them or something. What the
So it was funny talking about like sex drives. And I do think yes, we have a couple of friends whose sex drive as women is off the charts. But typically I think women, they do have a sex drive, but it's not like if I don't have sex today, I'm gonna die type thing. Where I feel as men more so often is, they need that more regularly. And so we started talking about love languages.
Okay.
And how for men, most men, not all, it's physical attention,
touch.
right? Physical touch, physical. And women is usually words of affirmation or acts of kindness or quality time. Well, you're supposed to give what the other receives, right?
Yeah.
So the man wants you to be having sex and giving affection. Well, you want them doing nice things and spending time with you, but they're missing that part sometimes, I think.
I think so the group of ladies you were talking to, they were in their 40s, 30s, 40s?
I would say there was 30s to late 40s.
Okay. I think it depends on where you are in your life. Because I know when I was a young person in my 20s, of course, that's a long time ago, but I was really wild about sex. But I also feel like the stage in life and what you've experienced in life as far as sexuality and all that plays a part or a role in it. So maybe somebody that's a little bit more reserved, maybe they got some little issues about sex that they didn't deal with. And so for me, I feel like sex changes as you age.
See,
and it also changes in relationships. When I was just a fast little girl, I didn't really give a crap about who I had sex with, how much I had sex. But now, and I know this is bad, with my husband and I've been with for a very long time, it's kind of like I'm complacent and like, okay, great, we had sex. Yay, I got 2 days to wait.
But
or like, it's bad. That's bad though.
Right. But like, I think I agree and disagree. So I agree with that part. I kind of like, I have never been, I've been sexual, but I've never been like where I had to have sex all the time. Never been that way. From 20 to, I didn't have sex till I graduated high school. And I don't have any traumas. I don't have anything that would affect my sexuality. I've just never, I've enjoyed sex. I enjoy it and I enjoy trying things and doing stuff, but I've never been to where like, oh my God, it's been 2 days. I need to have sex. Oh my God, it's been a week. I need to have sex. Oh, you touched me. Let's have sex. Like I've just never been like that, but I am sexual.
Yeah.
So like I'm up for it and I'm whatever. I do think you're right. I feel like the longer you're in a relationship, or a marriage or whatever you call it, I feel like you do get complacent. But why is that? Because, this person might be getting frustrated. Like, they just want to have sex every day. And you're like, well, you didn't do the dishes and you didn't hug me and you didn't do this. And they were probably thinking 10 years ago, I didn't have to do that shit.
Right. Well, yeah. So I think I fall into that category because, yeah, it was very different than it is now when me and Ed first met. And I feel like over the years, especially if you don't deal with your crap. We always talk about that on our podcast. You don't deal with your crap. So say 5 years ago he pissed you off and you haven't forgiven that. And now that plays into, well, 5 years ago
You said
you
that.
rubbed me.
Yeah.
And you said the ugly thing to me. And now you don't get sex unless I want to.
Yeah.
And I really have to get in my mentals and say, okay, even though I'm still mad from 5 years ago, I'll have sex with you today. So yeah, yeah.
And it shouldn't be used
It
as a
shouldn't.
weapon. Like,
Should
I
not.
feel like some people say, I'm not having sex because I'm mad, or guys are like, if you don't have sex with me, our marriage is crap, or whatever. I feel like you can't. I mean, sex is a huge, very important part of a relationship, but it can't be used as a weapon. And I remember years and years and years, I was married 20 years ago. We went to a church service one time. And the pastor talked about, a healthy marriage should be having sex multiple times a week, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, go figure, a preacher would say this, right? But then he followed it up with, those to have that kind of relationship, men need to be showing up for their wives. You need to be giving affection. You need to be giving hugs. You need to be helping with the children, the dishes, whatever. And it's not going to seem like a chore for them. Because I think a lot of people feel the older they get or the more they're with somebody, it's a chore.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I did it, instead of I want to do that. And I think, like, for me, it's different because I'm not in a traditional relationship. We don't live together. We see each other sporadically. So it's more enticing, more fun, more whatever. I could imagine it would be a lot different if we were living in the same house, day in, day out, dealing with the kids, dealing with all of our stress. I think it would dramatically affect our sex life.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's how do you separate your chaotic, stressful life, your work and all of that, and still keep your sexual intimacy a priority? Even if you're not a highly sexual person, you should still want to have sex with your partner.
With your partner, yes. I heard something this morning. Ed was listening to a podcast. I can't remember the name. It'll come to me. But they were talking about Krispy Kreme being that sexual part and the broccoli being the chaos and the crazy of life. You got to do some of that broccoli or address some of that broccoli stuff and not just come into the marriage looking for the Krispy Kreme.
That is
Krispy
a hilarious analogy.
Is gonna be there as long as you're doing all the
really gross
broccoli stuff. So you got to communicate. One thing I know for me is communication. I don't communicate. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what's going to get me revved up, hot, and ready to go. And this is what's going to make the balloon deflate immediately if you do this.
Okay, but do you really feel, okay, previously, right, in my marriage, and I'm not dogging my ex-husband. We have a very good relationship to this day. I would say things like, I would really love for you to show me affection more than just jump in bed and have sex. I would like this, or I would like that. Yeah, got it. 1 day, 2 days, got it. And then it goes right back to just like, we wouldn't kiss for a week, but then we'd have sex multiple times. So it's like, how do you get the man to understand? I mean, we all know men and women are completely different.
Very different.
So how do you get the man to understand the needs of a woman? Because the woman all women know, I'll just say this, all women know that their man wants sex every single day. Come on. What man do you know that would say no to every single day?
I don't know any.
So we already know that. I feel like men don't get what we need to be able to want to do that every single day. A man, I don't feel like needs anything. I feel like you could walk in the room, get naked, and go, let's have sex. They're like, okay.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that.
Most men. It's a lot of convincing to have sex. Like, what?
No.
Okay, they'll drop anything in the moment. They're at work. You can be like, oh, they're coming. But not literally, just like coming home.
Yeah. Yes. Get ready.
women, I feel like there's so much more. I mean, sometimes that happens. Sure. Hey, come, let's have sex, whatever. But like, how do you bridge that?
I think you have to do the things to the man that you would want him to do to you. I think that's the way we show them, hey, this is what I like because I'm rubbing on you first thing in the morning, kissing on you, getting everything ready to be like, okay, tonight is the night because remember, I was touching you and looking in your eyes and like, hey, but outside of doing that, you got
Okay.
sex.
Okay.
We got it.
Yes, you got to
Talk
talk about it. But what you just said too, in the morning, right? Starts off, hey, can't wait. Like, okay, I have a non-traditional relationship, right? Can't wait to see you later, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
Well, by 6 o'clock, we've argued about the kids. We've talked about work. We're stressed out. We're tired. We're hungry. How do you keep it priority versus the last resort?
Okay, remember the broccoli. You got to do
That is the worst analogy I've ever heard.
really
I-
before we can get to the Krispy Kreme.
It
All right,
just
so
all
when
sounds
when
wrong.
you go home, right? You gotta have that 5-10 minute. Okay, we're just gonna decompress. We're gonna let all the crap from the day go. And hey, this is our time. We got to put that aside and let's get to the Krispy Kreme. But
Okay, what about families that have little children all the time? So we have a lot of friends that are different age groups and they have a lot of kids in the house or they're new moms. I have younger friends, new mom. How do they still make their sex life a priority when, especially for mamas, no offense to dads, but mamas are exhausted. They're either stay-at-home moms and they never get a break. They are doing it day from the time they wake up to the time those kids go to bed and after, or they're working and coming home and doing all the mom stuff. Now, a dad could do the same thing, I feel like, and he's still
yeah,
okay to jump in the bed and like, but how do we help that mindset for women to change and say, listen, this is a need my husband needs. I need to get in it. I need to get on it. And for the man to say, this is a need my wife needs. I need to just try harder and do better.
Jesus.
But
Okay,
I think
so
you're right with communication, not just
but
a man saying, I want to have sex, but
you
like,
still gotta prioritize. Okay, if women can really truly understand, oh, it's not how we view sex. It's not the romance and, oh, you are so special because I want you. It is really just a physical relief for a guy and a stress relief. If we can just put it into that in our brains that that is what sex is to a man, yes, they enjoy it. They love it. They want to do it with you, but it is a need and a relief. So if you can just think about it in that way, it doesn't mean he doesn't care about you or he doesn't care about all the crazy that's going on in the house. I need this because in my nature, that's what
yeah.
I'm programmed to do. So we could get past that, that it doesn't have anything to do with how we look, how we feel, what they did that day,
Or
what
what
they
you look
didn't
like
do
if you
that
brush
day.
your teeth.
Yes, they do not care. They are just like, this is my person and I want to enjoy them. Maybe that can take some of the stress off of the woman. And then we got to create the element for us to be willing and wanting to be intimate with that partner. The
I
thing
think
that I would
to
say.
take off the I'm not in the mood, I'm angry,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
tired, because those are all valid things, but you could be that every single day.
Yes.
And I do think, physical connection, I do think usually people show up better in the relationship.
Mhm.
When they're both being satisfied, I think they show up better. But if it feels like, and I think this happens a lot too. Okay, a woman says, okay, I'm going to do it X amount of times a week. I'm going to, really, make sure he's satisfied, right? So you do that for a few weeks and husband's not showing up.
Yeah.
And then husband's not showing, or boyfriend or partner, whatever. He's not showing up and he's not doing anything extra. So he's getting you feel like, okay, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I don't feel good. I'm still doing this to meet his needs. I think it's gonna show him what he needs to do to meet mine. And then he's not meeting them. So it comes back to what? The conversation. But then does it feel like, hey, I had sex with you 3 times this week and you didn't do the dishes? Is that how that goes?
I hope not. That's weird. We can we just talk about shared responsibility? Hey, honey, I need you to help me step it up in doing the chores for the house or step it up with the kids, or I need you once a month like you guys do. You got to set a schedule. You got to set time for you
Dates.
guys to reconnect, even though you have all the crazy going on in your family, to reconnect so that you don't lose the relationship.
Yep.
Because I do feel like men who don't get the sex that they looking for, they gonna find it somewhere else.
Yeah. I
I'm
And I
sorry to
think, like you
say.
said, if you don't keep that connection,
No.
what happens when those children leave? Then you're staring at each other like, who are you?
Right.
Like, what do we do now that we don't have kids or we don't have all this stuff? So I think that's right. The dates, having
Date.
scheduled dates
Yeah.
just to date, like have a connection. And I think the important thing, which we fail a lot at, which we have to get better at, on our dates, we should not talk about our work, our kids, and our household. It should be like, what do you want to do this summer? What was your best thing of the week? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But like what happens sometimes with us, the day starts out great. And then we start talking about the kids. We start talking about all the things that have gone wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then we're just both in like a frustrated, angry, stressed out mood. And that doesn't help anything.
Enjoy the sex after that. If you have
No,
sex,
so now,
enjoy it.
no, not really. So now we have sex before we ever go out on a date so that we know if we ruin it, we've already had sex.
Oh, but that's
So
a good idea,
I
though.
mean, yes, but it's also like sometimes you just like to connect without, having to worry about is it going to affect our sex life, But I think, and we have a healthy sex life, but like I said, we don't live together. It's different. I do believe when you live together, there's so many more stresses and excuses. I'm tired. Oh, we sleep together. I'll see you in the morning or like whatever. When you don't live together, not saying everybody should not live together, but what I'm saying is you have to take advantage of those moments more often.
I don't know. I think complacency after years and years of just being with a person and you take them for granted that, oh, they're always going to be here, whether I have sex 4 times a week or 1 time a week. But I also feel like women who aren't, like, you just know for certain, I am not interested. I don't feel like it. I don't want to. The drive is not there. And you got to be talking with your doctor and your spouse to say, hey, this sex thing, I know you love it. I know you love it, but for me, it's just not,
Yeah, because
not getting there. Maybe you got to go on some Viagra. Maybe you got to go on some hormone replacement therapy. Maybe you got to do things differently to get yourself there
right.
because it is a need
Especially
for
like
me.
you said just a minute ago, for women especially, you start going through perimenopause, then menopause. You don't even realize what's happening to you until one day you're like, wait, why do I feel this way or why? So I think you're right. I think we have to take care of our health,
Yeah.
like go and check and make sure your hormones are, especially if you were always very active and then you just quit.
Yeah.
It may not just be you're tired. There
Yeah.
could be more going on, but you're thinking it's work and kids, but maybe it's something
Yeah.
else. So that is a good point to always check and make sure that's okay. And I feel like a lot of people I feel like girls could get around each other and talk about sex pretty openly,
Yeah.
but I feel like talking with their spouses about sex is harder.
It is very hard.
But it's interesting though, because I feel like that's the person you're doing it with.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not having sex with you, but I could talk to you about it.
Yes.
So I feel like it always seems like it's almost an uncomfortable thing for
Yeah.
men to openly talk about maybe wants, desires, I don't know.
Mhm.
And for females to openly talk, not just about what they need to want to be sexual, but what they want sexually.
How did you learn about sex? So I think that plays a role into what your experience is as an adult woman. Is what did you learn? I didn't learn crap about sex until after I had a baby. And that's really wild to even say that out loud. We never talked about, okay, what is the purpose of sex? Or if you have sex, what happens? And if you like a guy, why do you like the guy? None of that. So now at my age, I'm like, well, when I was a teenager, sex was made to be like this dirty, nasty thing that you don't do, whether it was from the church or from my parents. And so I'll talk about it with Ed, but I'm not openly like, oh, I want to try this or oh, I want to do that or all of the things that go along with having an open discussion about sex
Yeah.
because I'm still like, oh, in the back of my head, that's dirty, nasty. You keep that all to yourself. It's very private. You don't share that with anybody. And that means Ed too, which
Right.
okay, work through my shit in therapy, but that's something for me that I got to get over.
Yeah. Well, and I think not differently, but a little different segue is a lot of women I don't think even know their own bodies
Yep.
or know what they like. And I mean, I've talked to plenty of women who say they've never had an orgasm.
Huh?
Yeah. So I feel like there's a deep rooted it's okay for you to be sexually aware of your body and who
Yes.
you are and what you want and what you don't like. And it's okay that your partner knows this and that your partner knows that the goal should just not be for the man to get off.
Okay. Yes. Can we say that again?
Yeah. The goal is not just, sure, he's meeting his needs, but I could see why some people don't like to have a lot of sex if they're not getting their needs met. I mean, then to them, they're like, why did I do all this work or doing everything? Because they're not feeling that moment of like, oh, it's all worth it. So like, I feel like that's something that I don't feel, just in, conversations with people or feel, it took me a long time to be comfortable to talk to Nick specifically about specific things. And sometimes I'm still uncomfortable, but I know that like we're together. And if we want to make this sex life last, you have to be able to
talk about it.
Yes. And it's okay that you want to be as satisfied as they are.
Yes.
I mean, it's okay.
That's something that I'm learning now. Is like, for me, when I was a kid, we talk about masturbation in the church.
As a negative.
It was so bad.
Which obviously there's a limit. This should not be a problem. But yes, I mean, you need to know your body.
But also in the Bible, there's a whole book that talks about sex. The Song of Solomon is about a relationship with, which I believe is a man and a woman, but okay, if you want it to be something different, that's okay. But they talk about, being intimate and romantic and all the sweet things that they said to each other. But then on the other hand, you got the men say, well, if you masturbate, you're going straight to hell. Yeah. But I'm married. I can't do that with my husband. It should be okay.
Yeah.
But even now, to even talk about that, it's like, ooh, are you supposed to be talking about that?
Yeah.
Because that's so taboo. Don't talk about it.
And I feel like the older the women get, the more open they are about it. Like I was on the phone the other day with a friend, like we don't talk all the time or whatever. And she was like, I got myself a toy. I was like, okay. Great. Like, great. But it was just like, okay. I mean, in my 20s, I probably wouldn't have talked to my friends about that. You know what I mean? So I think as we get older, I think that wall comes down of help me, help you, or whatever. And as weird as it might sound, I think I have said at least once to my oldest daughter, like, hey, we don't talk explicitly about sex. Like I have some friends who explicitly talk with their kids about, like, I mean, I don't need to know what they're doing. Like, I don't need those kind of details. We talk about sex, but I don't need details.
Okay, yeah.
But I did say, I think once or twice, I've said, make sure that you are satisfied and having an orgasm too. It's not just about him. Yeah. And then she'd be like, Mom, I'm like, serious. Like, I don't know what you know. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you guys are exposed to because their world is so different.
Yeah, it is.
But you need to be satisfied too. If you're not, that could lead to being a problem later. I mean,
that's really great because I never heard anybody say that to me.
Never said that to me.
Ever.
No, nobody said it to me. Honestly, Honey, my dearest friend, I think I've talked about her a million times, known her for 3 years now. She's the one who really taught and opened my brain, not taught me physically, but taught me and said things to me that like my parents and nobody ever said to me. Mm-hmm. She'd say, hey, have you done this? Or have you thought about, it's okay to feel, I mean, I call her now if anything random happens to my body. I'm like, hey, is this normal? Like, cause you always feel like you can't ask people that.
Yeah.
But I mean, sex, I think, is, like you said, has always been made to be taboo. And then as a female, I think if you talk about it or you express too much, then you get this narrative about you. And so I think women are more guarded about that.
Or if you are one that says, F the societal stereotypes, I'm going to be out here and I'm going to enjoy sex and have fun, just like a guy would do, then you get labeled.
Yeah.
That's not fair either, but that's a whole nother topic.
There are some women that do have a very high sex drive, and that's great. Girl power to you. Nothing wrong with that. But I think that there's probably a lot of women or younger ladies that like, is there something wrong with me? I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I think that you've got to, some people just aren't like, and I think the effort that goes into the relationship makes a huge difference. I think it really does. If you were just, overwhelmed with love and like they're attentive and they're doing all this stuff, I feel like you just feel the need to want to be intimate. But if you have a lot of friction and stress and everything else and they just show up naked at the bedside and want to have sex, you're just like, are you freaking kidding me? What do you want me to do with that?
Okay, so how do you explain that? Okay, if I read this romance novel and the dude is kind of just showing up on the beach and I'm laying there and I'm like, hey, how are you? And then they just have a wonderful time. How is that different from the guy showing up in the bedroom? Like, hey, girl.
Yes, that's great. But you see a hot ass man walk by, your body is totally different, right? You're like, damn, like, whoa, all this stuff. When you see your husband, you're like, he didn't put up the laundry. He didn't put the toilet seat down. He freaking left his freaking clothes on the floor. He didn't freaking do his dishes.
Okay.
Like, you see your husband and you see all the shit he didn't do.
You're right.
You
Okay,
see
my
some
bad.
stranger and you're like,
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think honestly, I think that's why people have affairs. I know it's a totally different subject, but I think they think something's going to be better. Grass is greener because they don't have the shit associated with your relationship. And then you find out it's just different shit.
You better leave that one night stand alone.
So that's why I'm saying, like, in a relationship with sex, I think you have to be able to be like, hey, I'm not happy. You're not meeting my needs. I want to have sex. What can we do to make this better? And then he's got to, she's got to, they both have to be willing to meet in the middle. But if not, I mean, it does cause a divide.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think like if you have, like for your instance, you have a lot of stuff that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have any of that. You know what I mean? I think that if my sex and my relationship is not, it's me thing. It's me choosing not to, or it's me not, you know, opening my mind, or it's me not communicating. Like those are, I think, yes, you have deeper issues because you're associating it with negative things that happened to you.
Yeah.
You're associating with, I was taught this was wrong.
Mhm.
Like you have a whole different upbringing than I did. We talked about sex in our house, but not explicitly and no details and like, you know, but it wasn't a taboo topic.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I have anything that would stop me from wanting to try or do things, except, I mean, I am like over the top. Like I tell my girls, like, wrap it up, be clean, because you don't want something that you're going to live with the rest of your life. But other than that, nothing stops me, you know? And for a while in my marriage, my first marriage, I was always nervous to get pregnant again. So it affected my sex life because he didn't want to wear a condom and I didn't want to get pregnant again. Like I was like deathly afraid. So it really affected us. So he got fixed, you know, and then our sex life got better because then I didn't have that. So I think people do have a mental block.
Yeah, they do sometimes.
And I don't know what that is. It could be abuse. It could be pregnancy.
Yeah.
It could be insecurities about their body.
Yeah.
It could be anything. So like, but if they don't know that, that's going to keep the wall building. And that's
one thing I've always kind of found fascinating is the guy that you're with or your significant other that you're with, they've been with you for more than a year. They don't give a shit what your body look like. They just want to enjoy it.
I think that's our own insecurity.
And that's, why is that though? That is so weird that I'm trying to suck in my stomach and I'm trying to make sure, okay, put yourself together, boo,
Okay,
because
in my instance for me, okay, Nick is hot to me. Okay, like he's hot, he's in shape, he works out, he's healthy. Okay, like he's fine. When he met me, I felt like I was that way. I was very in shape. I exercised every day. I was skinny. I mean, he met me that way. Now I'm like 60 pounds good, at least 60 pounds heavier than when he met me. And, you know, we have all the stress of the kids. We didn't have that before when we first met. And we have a lot of just shit. And so then sometimes, yeah, I get insecure. I'm like, I'm fat, you're healthy, you're like, you know, and so I think it does affect sometimes the freedom of being free in the bedroom, thinking like, is he looking at my stomach? Is he wondering how the fuck did we get here? Like, which he doesn't. He always is very reassuring. But I'm just saying, I could see how people can be insecure because most of the time when you're in a relationship, especially like you said, a year, you hot in the beginning and then you guys start eating out and sleeping on the couch and like you gain weight or you don't go to the gym as much. So you do change.
Yeah, but I think for women, especially, that plays a part into your want to have sex with your partner, even though he slapped me on your booty and said, girl, you fag. Come here, give me some of that. You like, but my stomach, but
yeah,
I got extra weight. And so how do we get past that if that's something that's keeping you from, okay, he's standing over the bed looking ready and you like, oh, hell.
I mean, I think that comes to communication. Saying, hey, like, because I've said to Nick, like, I'm fat and you're in shape. Like, does it bother you? And he'll over and over, Megan, I find you say, Megan, you, Megan, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I think, but if you're doing it in your head and you're not sharing it, right, then you're blocking it because I'm sure he would reassure you. And I think the hardest thing for women, this is just, I'm not speaking for all women, but in my head, sometimes like a man will have sex with, I mean, what are the limits for a man? So then I'm like, does he really think I'm sexy or does he not really care? He just wants to have sex.
I don't know. I guess it depends on if it's only with you or with a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
But I could come from the gym and be sweaty, like, and What? No. Ew. Why would we do that now? I don't care, girl. You fine. You look good. You been to the gym. Come on. And I'm like, oh my God, no, that's terrible. I can't do it. I cannot. I
But
cannot.
it's not funny. He doesn't
I
care.
cannot. I just
You
can't.
feel dirty.
Yes, I
Yeah.
gotta go take a shower. I got to be ready.
And
Like,
then after you shower and everything, the
I am
moment's over.
I'm over it.
The
I
moment's
mean, he
over.
might be gone, be like, oh, hell, girl, bye. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go in the outside and look at the fish or something.
Yeah, but then it's like, well, I just showered, so now I'm clean. Let's just do it later. Let's, and I think we just find reasons to like, but I mean, the funniest thing about yesterday was that so many people who came into the conversation, they all had the same experience telling these funny stories about their boyfriends or husbands that just, they could go like that. And the girls are just like,
Can you give me a little?
like, what? What?
Can you give me a little something before you just jump on top
One
of me?
girl was telling a story of she was like, had a baby, like breastfeeding or something, and had another kid running around. And the guy walks in and it was like, so do you want to take a couple minutes? And she's like, I haven't bathed. I didn't brush my teeth. I got one on the boob, one in around. And he's like, do you want to take a couple minutes? And it was like, she's like, how in the world did he think this was a good time?
I don't know.
Maybe he was thinking it would be a stress reliever.
For him, he probably, yes.
And I think people use kids, I don't want to say as an excuse, but as an excuse.
Yeah.
Because I even know, this might be TMI, but when I go to Nick's house, he's got too many grown kids. They all are nosy. They all up in everybody's business. Me and you are not doing that to where they're going to hear, see, or anything.
Okay, so let me tell y'all about my fantabulous mother that I had as a kid. We never talked about sex. But that lady, she had sex. And the thing that sticks out in my brain, even today, is what I heard while she was having sex. And so I think that scarred me for life.
Yeah.
Because with my kids, I would almost threaten that you're going to die if you make any noise. Because I can't, I do not want my kids to hear that.
Yeah.
And I can't take it if making loud noise.
Yeah.
Because that's weird.
Yeah.
It's so
that's why I like at Nick's, I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Because somebody's gonna hear our bed squeak or they're gonna hear us make a no, like not happening.
probably not true, but because that's
In my brain, I like them. I mean, could you imagine if they go in the kitchen to get a drink and they're like, whoa, what are y'all doing? And the older they get, I think it's almost worse. Like a baby don't know what's going on. Your 2-year-old don't know what's going on, but your 15-year-old knows what's going on.
You
so
in
like,
the room. What you doing?
yeah,
We're looking at sunshine and roses. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that was something that I'm sure, like you're saying, played a part into our sex life, especially when we had kids in the house. Like, there's no noise. If I heard the bed squeak, you got to go away. We done.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do
It
it.
makes you like insecure that somebody's listening or hearing you. And I don't think they care. Like, I don't think they care, but I think most of them are like, oh, a kid can't hear that, or people can't know, or your parents can't know, or whoever's in the house.
Yeah, because like when I go to Ed's parents' house, no, there's no, we're not having no fun here.
Yeah.
You gotta wait till you get back home.
And some people are loud, they want to be loud. And so you can't tell somebody, oh, go ahead and be loud when you got listeners outside the door. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, I just think it's interesting how if there ever be a way to get men and women or partners, whatever, to understand and value the two differences so that they both want the same thing at the same time. And I feel like this has been a generational. I remember younger, my dad, he would make so many jokes about my mom, how my mom would not give it up. And I don't know if it was just a joke, and they really did or they didn't. But I mean, I have vivid memories of my dad making jokes about, oh, if we have, I think they had Sunday sex day or something. Like if they had sex, one day a week, or if they had sex. But like, it was funny because in my head, I'm like, well, is that normal or not normal? Or I don't know. And my mom to this day will make jokes like, I don't need to have sex. I don't, my dad has died and she's not remarried or dated or anything. But she's always looked at sex as just like, but she was raised Catholic. She wasn't allowed to have sex before marriage. She was only with my father. So she doesn't know anything or any different. And she looked at it as like a chore. Yeah. I don't think my mother ever talked about sex in a positive way, a fun way, a positive thing with your partner. It was always kind of like, if it came up, it was like a chore. Or my dad always seemed to try to be, and my mom was just like, eh. And I'm like, maybe that's like when you see that, it's so generationally,
Yeah,
you see
generational,
women
I think.
from so before, they didn't talk about sex.
No.
They didn't whatever. It was a duty instead
Yeah.
of a want.
Yeah.
And almost like some people I think feel bad saying it's a want. But I mean, I think women want it too. I mean,
I
I
do
don't think
feel
we're
like
made just to have babies.
no, we're not made just to have babies. I think one, like you're saying, generational changes have, exposed, especially our generation, and like you're saying, the kids' generation to more what is
Yeah.
sex, what can happen in sex, what are the different functions of the parts of your sexual organs and all that stuff. Because I don't think,
But I also think then now, like with this generation, and I'm guessing ours probably too. I mean, we had Playboy back in the day, older generations.
yeah,
But I think now, I think the horrible thing is the porn and the online access to. I'm not saying porn is bad, but I'm saying the extent that if these people are watching porn day in and day out,
getting that when we get married.
exactly, and some of that shit ain't happening or isn't real, but the stimulation it gives and the satisfaction it gives. And now they're looking at their partner like, why ain't your leg up like that? And why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you, you know what I'm saying? I think that really can damage too.
It can, because your expectation is, I'm going to get this when I finally get with a partner. And
Yeah.
baby, unless they have been in that industry, I don't even think they do it when they're not acting.
Yeah.
They
I
don't do
don't,
all that
yeah.
stuff. So that's not
Yeah.
realistic. You got to have a realistic view of, okay, this is what I expect in sex.
But that's what I think I challenge people to do, couples, is literally no matter how uncomfortable you are, and if you can't talk, text your partner, anything, and say, what is it
that.
that you would make you happy and satisfied in our sex life?
I love that.
And I think you should text your partner, ask your partner, let them answer you
Mhm.
too. And if they say, "Oh, I'm happy," no, no, that's not enough. You're just not trying to hurt my feelings,
Yep.
or you're not trying to be uncomfortable and say you want me to lick your toes or something. Like, I don't know. But you need to be able to say, are you, not even ask, are you satisfied?
No.
What would make you satisfied in our sex life? What are some new things that you want me to try or do or whatever?
Mhm.
Because I think some people are scared to say, I want to try this because either the person's going to think something's wrong with their current sex life. Why would you want to do that? You're not satisfied. Like they get defensive
Defensive. Yep.
or they think something's going on.
Yep.
So I think being able to like, if you could open that door, I think there's an app that like you both, I've seen this, you both have the app and it
Mhm.
will like click, you click when you want to have sex. And then if they click it at the same time, then you guys both get notified. But if you don't, then you don't get notified. So you never know who's clicked when, but when they both do, it says whatever. And then it asks you sexual questions for each person every day and you have to answer it.
That's
So,
cool.
because I think people feel uncomfortable face to face
Yes.
saying this,
Yes.
even though it's your
Yes.
husband or your wife.
Absolutely.
And so it gives them the opportunity to express those things without maybe the feeling of judgment or embarrassment. I don't
Very
know.
cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Or like you're saying, when you text, or if you want to have a conversation together and you can't look at each other, because I probably would have to be like, Ed, I really like to try this thing over here,
Yeah.
but I don't want to see your eyes of what you might say to me, because I
Judgment.
don't
You
know,
feel judged.
you might judge me and be like, what the hell? And so I would just
Yeah.
turn your back to each other and just
Yeah.
say what you want to say out loud.
Because
So
if you
then
do
you're
it
not,
this
yeah,
way, I don't have to see your reaction.
yeah,
So if you're like, what? I wouldn't see that. Or if you look confused,
yeah,
I have a good idea.
yeah. Could work. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that. I ain't gonna tell y'all what happened though, but I'm gonna try it.
So yeah, so this sex talk today I think is about, I think a lot of people feel the same way, but you have to find a way to cross that bridge to communicate about it and meet both people's needs. It's not just the woman's need to satisfy the man. The man has to satisfy the woman too. And we're hoping to get a couple guys on here
Yes.
and get their perspective.
If you want to be on the podcast and talk about sex, we are going to investigate you first to
Yeah.
make sure you're not a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we would
And
love
I know
to have
some
some
married
males.
people might feel uncomfortable talking,
Yeah.
but you know, we're going to try and find some males to come and talk about their perspective because we only know the woman's perspective.
Absolutely.
If we have to, we might force our significant others on here again, just as a neutral, whatever, but I don't know. I don't think Nick would do it. So, but we'll see. We'll get some men's opinions on here, but
All right. So guys, what is your sex advice for all of us women who are like, Jesus, can you just put it away? Let us know in the comments below. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We are on YouTube, and share this with someone who might need to hear this conversation. And until next time, bye guys.